You can't convince me that I'm not on Mars right now. Talk about the most otherworldly landscape imaginable. What I'm standing on is called a bentonite hill. These bentonite hills were formed back in the Jurassic period. They're made of something called brushy basin shale, which essentially is just mud, silt, and clay mixed with volcanic ash. And that formed something called bentonite clay back when all of this was flooded in the large lakes that used to make up the Great Basin, the most famous of which is Lake Bonneville. And bentonite clay is very hydrophilic, so it absorbs water like crazy. And as it slowly dried up, it left behind this popcorn texture and these very interesting looking hills that today resemble more or less a Martian landscape. They're really fascinating to look at. It feels very otherworldly to drive through. Sodium bentonite, which is the primary chemical in bentonite clay, is a pretty complicated molecule. It's got oxygen, aluminum, sodium, hydrogen, silicone. It's got a lot of different elements, and that's what gives the banding such distinct properties. Not all of the trace elements that accompany themselves with sodium bentonite have the same density. So as they settle in these lake beds over hundreds and thousands of years, you end up with these very beautiful, perfectly distinct lines that really give the terrain such a distinct look. If any of you happen to be interested, or at least as interested as I am, in the chemistry and geology of the Morrison Formation here, or to the Jurassic period in general, on the project I'll be announcing soon, I may make some videos just getting more specific about the places I like to explore and how they came to be how they are, and just the geologic and chemical history of them. So let me know if that kind of thing interests you. If not, then maybe I won't touch those subjects. But I find it fascinating, so just let me know in the comments. How much closer to a cliff's edge can you park than that, huh? Talk about an otherworldly landscape. I've been here a few times, and it blows my mind every single time I get here. I mean, look at this place. What in the world? Every time I come here, I ask myself the same question. How close is too close? But you know what? I like to live a little. How about that, huh? It really is just mesmerizing. Those colors are so unique. That's why some people call this place moonscape, because it really does look like you're on the surface of the moon. Utah has some of the most unreal scenery. Y'all want to see how far down that is? Let's throw a rock and do the math. It's so far I could see the puff before I could even hear it. I checked the camera and it fell for about 3.5 seconds. So at 32 feet per second squared, that's like 200 feet. And that's just falling on the edge of the slope. I think it's twice as deep, I think it's twice as tall if you count the actual bottom. That would mean it's falling at about 80 miles per hour by the time it gets to the bottom. That's pretty crazy. From here you can actually see those bentonite hills that we were at earlier, way down in the valley. They stand out because they're just so unique looking. And we actually weren't that far away from where we are now, it's just up the street. But man, is the landscape just wildly different yet again. A little windy out there. Kind of messed up my hair a little. But it's impossible to deny how utterly spectacular this place is. And if it stays light long enough, maybe I'm going to show you guys one more really cool spot. Quite secret spot. There's a few people here, but no one has ever heard of the spot I'm going to now. A really cool canyon we can drive through. Alright, let's get off this cliff and check that out. We're really testing the van's off-road capabilities here. We've tested it in snow, a little bit off-road in the northwest at the end of last fall. But now we've got some proper cross-country Utah terrain. Not even dirt tracks in some places, just literally driving across the desert. The van's doing well though. The Martian landscape just continues, doesn't it? A lot of this area has been immortalized under the Antiquities Act, but lucky for me because it's easier to travel in. This is all just public land. It doesn't have a name. The roads are unnamed, it's just dirt tracks, so I can go wherever I want. But not just for the natural history, but even the anthropological history, this place is pretty culturally significant for. Slot canyons are so cool. Wonder if I could get up there, but losing daylight, so it's probably not worth trying in case I did get stuck. Whoa, look at that. I was just talking about the cultural significance of this entire area of central Utah. And all of a sudden I find these perfect petroglyphs carved into the wall. People often come here to find arrowheads and things like that in this whole plateau, but this is quite a find. These would have been almost certainly chiseled by the Fremont peoples. One thing that has always bothered me about kind of the education that I received and a lot of people receive about Native American culture is we kind of clump it all together as if it's some kind of monolith without realizing that while there were many tribes, there were also many time periods and many different levels of development. And just south of here, the Navajo was a very big, very sophisticated tribe that had archaeologists trying to uncover the history of the Fremont people. And that's just crazy to think about how the Fremont people have been here since, since BC. They've been here for over 2,000 years. And there's just so much cultural significance to this entire region. I know earlier we were talking about if any of y'all are interested in the chemical and geological history of the places I visit, and I could incorporate this in the project I'm going to be releasing in the future, is maybe I could research and study along with you guys the anthropological history of the places I visit, because that's probably the most fascinating thing. Is everywhere I go has been inhabited for hundreds if not thousands of years by someone, and it's really interesting to see how they made use of the land and where they came from and their cultural history. So let me know if the anthropological history of the places I visit is something that interests you, and maybe I could include that in a series. I think it'd be very rewarding to research. I truly cannot believe I just stumbled on that here in this canyon. I know that there are famous pictographs and petroglyphs in the area. I've never heard of these. I'm not sure anybody has. They're just here on the side of a canyon. A really beautiful canyon at that. See, these ones I've heard about before, because for centuries people have been speculating what they could possibly be. I mean, look at them. They're huge. They've been up there for hundreds and hundreds of years, and they just look so alien, don't they? What do you guys think these are? Do you think that they're some kind of deity? Or maybe an alien? They were drawn long before there was any technology that could possibly resemble this. And even Navajo archaeologists have pondered the same question and come up short. Nobody knows what they are. And I think that's just fascinating. If I'm correct, this is actually a pictograph, not a petroglyph, because this is stained onto the rock. It's just a different art medium. Petroglyphs are chiseled onto the rock, and so the erosion and weathering is different, but they can both last for millennia if they're done correctly, like these. Look at that. Could that have been some kind of animal that doesn't even exist anymore? It's not wholly impossible. Wow, well, here's the end of the canyon. Hello! Whoa. That's a good echo. Ah, ah, ah. That's so cool. Look at this pond at the end of the canyon. This is the kind of thing you get good at when you live in a metal box by yourself in the woods. As y'all can tell, I'm not just a fan of the snow and the cold and the mountains. I'm just a nature fan in general. So even being in really cool places like this, to me, it makes me just as euphoric as being in a giant snowstorm. Let me see if I can skip this little rock. One skip. temperature has dropped like a rock as the sun's been setting. Oh my gosh. It was warm just a few minutes ago. It's got to be close to freezing now, and I'm sure it's just going to keep getting colder. But I'm starving, so I have a few good ideas for dinner here. And since I'm in the middle of nowhere in the desert, maybe I'll roast some potatoes on a fire. Alright, well, as my other glove eludes me, we will carry on. The good thing about winter, or even if it's the end of winter, is everything is still very dead and dry. So we can just break off a little bit of kindling here. Perfect little cozy spot, nice and sheltered. I'll make it up in there, and then the heat will be nice and reflected if I want to chill out here while the potatoes are cooking. Here I am walking the Olympic torch from the stove in the van to here. This will be the easiest kind of fire ever to make. But yeah, it's been a while. It really has been a while. In the winter, it's kind of impossible given the amount of snow. It just keeps melting and steaming. It's not as fun. I made a couple, but this is when it gets much more peaceful and enjoyable. Perfect. Potatoes. These are just going to be some simple baked potatoes, so I'll wrap them in foil. And I'll make 2 of them. Alright. And just like that, pop one in, pop the other in, and give it a nice push. I gave the potatoes a flip, so another 20 or so minutes and they'll be good. But in the meantime, I'll cook up that really nice steak. I don't know if it's really nice, I guess we'll see, but the steak that's been sitting in the fridge here for the last 2 days. It's hard to believe that now, a third of the way through April, winter is essentially over. Another winter come and gone, and this has been quite a special one. Definitely not how I expected it to go. I posted a video on the last day of November. And before I posted that video, I had 20,000 subscribers after having been on YouTube for over a year. And didn't really make any money off of YouTube. Wasn't, I did want it to be my career eventually. But that was just, back on, I guess, people started watching it on December 1st. And everything else has changed since then. You guys have loved my winter journey. You followed along. You've loved those snow videos, me getting buried in the van. It's a lot of fun. I love doing it. And I used to get buried in the car I lived in before all the time. I just never bothered to make videos about it. But here we are, a third of the way through April. and the days are getting a lot longer. The temperatures are getting warmer. I'm starting to wake up above room temperature in the van sometimes because the sun is beaming down on me. But I just want to thank you guys for watching all of those funny snow videos, and many of you subscribing and continuing to watch. I know that's what people are starting to know me for, but of course summer's a little bit different. But believe me, there's so many really cool adventures like this one that I'm going to be doing pretty much every single day and filming as many of them as I can. Fire's still going, but whoo, it's cold out there. And I have to imagine that those are done. Actually, you know, I'm going to give them a little bit longer, just up here on top. Another 10 minutes, and then we'll come and grab them. I like to wait until the foil is completely charred. That's usually when they're done. Let's flip this. Oh yeah. Ventilate a little while we're at it. Alright, a few minutes on that side. I'll grab those potatoes. And then we feast. Let's pop open one of these here. It's amazing how even right after you take it out of the fire, you can immediately touch the foil. Oh yeah, that is cooked through perfectly. Oh, that'll make a great baked potato. Now this will just be a cheesy, buttery potato for me. Another time we'll make loaded baked potato as the main course. You guys are gonna hate me for calling this camping, but I know that buried in one of these, I have some Grey Poupon. Would you like some Grey Poupon? Oh my gosh. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Look at that. How beautiful is that piece of meat dripping all over the floor? The knife cuts through it like butter. This is living right here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night.